Welcome everybody to another episode of the Read Sip. I am your host Isaiah Ruiz, and today we got a hell of a show for you today. We're gonna talk about the Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens, the LA Rams versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Divisional round is fully wrapped up. I can't wait to talk about this. By the way, the Bills versus the Ravens, a team that I hate, versus another team I've hated for such a long time. For many reasons, many different reasons. But I mean, this year I could really care less. But the Baltimore Ravens once again prove that they are frauds. Now I will say Lamar Jackson, I'm a big fan of his, and I say that as a Steeler fan. I think he has such a fun player to watch. One of the best quarterbacks. It's probably going to go down in NFL history. However, it's another year where he just falls short in the postseason. I don't know if he ever will win a Super Bowl. I don't know if he can win a Super Bowl. But so far he's treading down that path of Aaron Rodgers minus the Super Bowl, all the MVPs. He really is. I mean, I think it's pretty fair to say, which is kind of messed up, but I think it's pretty fair to say that he is pretty much the NFL version of James Harden. I mean, but I'm not going to do that to him. James Harden never really cared a whole lot about winning, in my opinion. He was always too busy partying it up, going to strip clubs, things of that nature. Lamar Jackson ain't going to be doing all that. He cares about winning. He wants to win. And I really do think that at the end of it all, MVPs is just an MVP, but I do believe he wants to eventually win that Super Bowl and bring one to Baltimore. But it ain't going to be this year, and it ain't going to be today. So let's just get right into it. Lamar Jackson, 254 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also had a fumble as well. Derrick Henry led on the ground, 84 yards, a touchdown. Isaiah Likely and Rashad Bateman leading and receiving with 73 and 66 yards, both a touchdown apiece. And the key player of the game for the Baltimore Ravens and many Baltimore Raven fans, people from Baltimore are absolutely hating this man right now, as Mark Andrews also fumbled the ball and dropped that really key. Dropped that key 2-point conversion. And for those who don't know, let me go ahead and just say the score so that way I add a little bit of context. The final score was Buffalo Bills 27 to the Baltimore Ravens 25. But the Ravens did drive down the field, scored a touchdown, had chances to put up 2 more points, and the ball was dropped by Mark Andrews. And just all over Twitter, all over Instagram, all over social media, really, he is public enemy number 1. And, you can't, I don't really care. You can blame him. I'm just glad that the Ravens lost, but you can blame him. At the end of the day, you got Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson, and Tylan Wallace, by the way. All 3 of them committed fumbles. All of them. They all fumbled the ball, turned the ball over. Lamar Jackson, an interception. I would say that the Baltimore Ravens prepared to play in the snow today. The Baltimore Ravens did not. You could do whatever you want to do. I had heard something about the Ravens doing something to simulate fucking weather. You can't predict. At the end of the day, you can't. Unless you're gonna be practicing out in the snow, you're gonna fly to Buffalo. You're gonna practice out in the snow all week. Get yourself mentally prepared. Get yourself ready for the game. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you're going to do to really get yourself ready to play in Buffalo. The Buffalo weather right now. It was a snowy game, by the way. The Buffalo weather right now. I'll just look it up really quick. Is 17 degrees, pretty close to out here in Missoula, Montana, which is where I'm at. Shout out to the Montana Grizzlies, by the way. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that you really can do if you're not going to be out in the snow practicing. I get it, trying to mentally prepare yourself, but the Ravens, they just weren't prepared. They just weren't ready. They weren't prepared. Too many fumbles, too many mistakes. Lamar Jackson, albeit, he did what he could. It's just, again, he's falling short again. And I really don't know where the Baltimore Ravens go from here. They got Derrick Henry. One of the reasons why they got him is to build a little bit of this, great squad that they have. And some people might question the great squad because, yes, you have Lamar Jackson, you have Derrick Henry, but obviously Mark Andrews fell off big time this year. They really don't have any receivers because Zay Flowers was out. So I do still think, even with Zay Flowers, especially making his first Pro Bowl, being the first ever Raven to make a Pro Bowl as a receiver, I think the Baltimore Ravens really need to take a look in the mirror. I think they need to go out and get a receiver. I think that's one thing that they are missing. And I hate saying that as a Steelers fan because I prefer them not get weapons, but they really do need a receiver. Rashad Bateman, Tylan Wallace, Anthony Miller, Justice Hill, he's a running back, but Nelson Aguilar. These are not wide receivers. They're not. These are not wide receivers. This is not a legit wide receiver. Zay Flowers is your one legit receiver, but you need to go out and get somebody else. And if I'm Baltimore, I'm going to go and look offensively and go get a receiver. Defensively, they're one of the best defenses in the NFL. Always have been, always will be. And they got some studs on that defense. Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith. Kyle Van Noy had a pretty good year this year, actually. I think he had double-digit sacks for them a little bit late in his career. Nate Wiggins came on the scene. Marlon Humphrey, another great year. Had a little bit of rough couple of years before, but this was arguably his best year so far. I believe he made first team All-Pro. So if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I'm either drafting or I'm going out and signing or trading for a top receiver to really get them over the hump. Because I think if you can do that, regardless. Now, aside from that, I don't know what else they need to do, but playing in the snow is no joke. Playing in severely cold weather is no joke. Hell, walking outside of my apartment is no joke. It hurts, it's painful. And it's just, it does take a toll. I can officially say that, having lived in Southern California my whole life up until I moved here, I can say that it is no joke. It's painful. It's not the same, but those are the type of conditions that you need to play come December, come January, in places like Buffalo, in places like Kansas City. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that the Baltimore Ravens need to go out and find themselves a true receiver. They got a couple good tight ends. Likely had one of his best years, if not his best year. Let's look up his stats really quick. 400 and, well, I mean, he did okay. Not the greatest numbers, 42 catches, 477 as far as yards, and 6 touchdowns. But they likely still a very formidable player. Mark Andrews still a very formidable tight end, also 55 catches, 673 yards, 11 touchdowns. So at least there's that. But the Baltimore Ravens, they really do need a receiver. Again, don't know if they end up getting a receiver. Who knows? It's been many years that they've needed one and they haven't gotten it. So, we'll see. Again, as a Steeler fan, I kind of hope that they don't, but that's just how it's looking right now. Going on to the Buffalo Bills, though, the winners of this game, Josh Allen, 127 yards passing. However, he did have 20 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns rushing. James Cook did his thing with 67 yards on 17 carries. Ray Davis was the only running back with a touchdown. Khalil Shakir led in receiving with 67 yards. No passing touchdowns, though, obviously. But no, the Buffalo Bills did what the Buffalo Bills do. They went out and they played a good game. Overall, played a very good game. Very tough, hard-fought game. Regardless of the score, even if they were to tie it or the Buffalo Bills were to take it into overtime and win it, or maybe they drove down the field, because when Mark Andrews dropped that pass, there was still a little over a minute left, plenty of time for the Buffalo Bills to go downfield, kick a field goal, or even score a touchdown for the game-winning touchdown. So overall, these are all going to be great games, and the closer and closer you get to the Super Bowl, the closer and closer these scores more or less are going to be. It's very rare that you have a team that's going to go out and blow out a team in the divisional round, championship round, or in the Super Bowl. Very rare. So regardless, I thought this was a very good and hard-fought game between the Buffalo Bills. They went out, they did what they had to do, obviously, and they won this one. They're also, the one key advantage, and really this is going to make it interesting going into Kansas City, because going into Kansas City, it's going to be cold. It's probably going to be snowy. Both of these teams know what it's like to play in snow. Both of these teams know what it's like to play in cold weather. And it's going to be an exciting matchup. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how many times this is already going to be. I think it's going to be like the 4th or 5th time that Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are going to face off in the postseason. So I can't wait. I'm excited to watch the game. I'm excited to watch both games, the NFC one too. So we'll get into that. We're definitely going to be having some reaction to that. I might go live on YouTube and kind of go from there. But man, what an exciting game that it's going to be next week in the AFC Championship game between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. It is always absolute cinema. One of the last times that they played, we obviously know about the 13-second game. But man, the Buffalo Bills have an opportunity to redeem themselves, not just for that game when it was 13 seconds, but last year as well when Baltimore when Kansas City went in there and beat them on their own home turf. Last year there was a big storyline. Oh, you've never been to Buffalo and during this time of the year, and they still went in and beat them anyway. So we'll see how the game turns out. It's back in Kansas City, the Kansas City Invitational, their 7th straight AFC Championship game. Patrick Mahomes officially owns the AFC, win or lose. But the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. I mean, let's keep it a buck. Josh Allen needs this win more than anything for the sake of his career, the sake of I just and when I say career, I mean there's still a lot of time left for him to go out and do what he could do, be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Still plenty of time for him to go eventually, maybe win a Super Bowl, if not this year. But Josh Allen, I mean, I think we all know what he's playing for. I think he knows what he's playing for, especially against the Chiefs. Same thing would have been for Lamar Jackson. And we can all obviously see the type of criticism he's taking now. And he's also, I mean, he's taking accountability. He was talking about it a little bit after the game, taking some accountability because the Ravens team, I mean, they know what this means. It's another failed season. The Baltimore Ravens expect championships as young as they are as an organization and a team. They expect championships much like the Pittsburgh Steelers do. And now, I mean, the Kansas City does. So, we'll see where they go from here. Josh Allen, they're going to go, like I said, Kansas City, AFC Championship game, the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, moving on to the next game. This was insane. This was absolutely insane. The LA Rams took on the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia, and the Philadelphia Eagles won 28-22, another close game. I was really rooting for the Rams, and I will say this because in the last episode I did say that the Rams are one of the teams that can compete and go toe to toe with a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, a team like the Detroit Lions, the Washington Commanders, or the Vikings. And I think they proved me right. They lost the game, but they proved me right. They went out, they battled, they fought all the way back. There was some mishaps after mishaps, a couple of key fumbles though. A couple of key fumbles that allowed the Eagles to allowed the Eagles to score a touchdown relatively easily. And we'll get into that right now. But Matthew Stafford, 324 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyren Williams led on the ground with 106 yards. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, 97 and 61 yards. But the real key here was the fumbles, like I said. Matthew Stafford had 2 fumbles. Kyren Williams also lost a fumble. I mean, those two right there. If they don't fumble the ball and the Philadelphia doesn't get the ball on the Rams side of the field so close to the end zone already, who knows if the Eagles even win? Who knows if the Eagles even win this game? And this is another game too that was played in the snow. Again, cold temperature does matter, and the LA Rams don't play in cold temperature. They don't play in cold weather. They play in hot weather 24/7, 365 days a year. So I think that obviously had a huge impact on them, on Stafford and Kyren Williams. You could also look at Dotson, who had that false start at the end of the game that really, I mean, that one, you could make the argument that really quite literally and figuratively set them back because they were going in to drive and score a touchdown, make it 29-28. But they just couldn't do it. He had that false start, and I'm pretty sure they got, if I remember correctly, I believe they got sacked. No. It was an incomplete pass. So, but, I mean, the Rams, they fought. And by the way, going back to what I was saying last week about that defense, 7 sacks again today. 7 sacks. Jared Verse are going to be going into next year as one of the top 5 edge rushers in the entire league. Are going to be a perennial Pro Bowler, perennial All-Pro player. He's an absolute stud. But you got Fisk, like I said, Byron Young, Kobe Turner. All these guys are going to be coming back. They're going to be doing their thing. They're going to play even better than they did this year. And I'm excited to watch that. I mean, I'm not a Rams fan, but I do watch them quite a bit because being back home when I was back there, I mean, all we got was the Chargers and Rams because of local television. But those guys are going to be fun to watch. I love watching defenses. I love watching defensive players. I love watching players develop. And this is going to be a team that's going to be here for a very, very long time. I think they're going to be coming into next year. As long as they're fully healthy, they're going to be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the NFC. I would put him in the top 4, I think, coming into next year with Stafford coming back, Cooper Kupp as long as he stays healthy, Puka Nacua as long as he stays healthy, and then you have this defense. They're going to be right there at the top of the NFC as far as seeding. And as far as storylines, we all know the NFL is all about storylines, who looks the... I mean, I say this, but and it sounds funny, but it's so true. Who has the coolest plays? Who looks cool? Or who's cool to talk about? Is it Philly? Is it the Is it the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar? Is it Josh Allen? That's really what it comes down to. That's how you get notoriety. That's how you get the TV deals. That's how you get the national games played. So going into next year, I mean, the Rams should be one of those teams, deservingly so. But this year is a disappointing loss, especially with everything going on back home. Everybody was kind of hoping and riding on the Rams to, give the city some type of hope. People that back there still dealing with fires and losses and things like that. And the Rams have been a little bit of hope for them. But, unfortunately, the season ends here for the Rams. And as far as the Philadelphia Eagles, man, Saquon Barkley, this is exactly why I had him as my front runner for MVP. But of course, because he's not a quarterback, everybody wants to talk about Josh Allen. Everybody wants to talk about Lamar Jackson. And deservingly so, everybody did want to talk. I also had Joe Burrow as one of my personal favorites for the MVP as well because he put up ridiculous numbers. But Saquon Barkley, I'm not even going to give you all of everybody else's numbers. I'm going to just give you Saquon's. 26 carries, 205 yards, and 2 touchdowns. One of those was a 78-yard touchdown run. I mean, the dude is an absolute beast. He is, as far as non-quarterbacks, he's the best player in the NFL. You have a fantasy draft right now and you're an owner. Yeah, sure, you might be taking Patrick Mahomes #1 overall, as you should. And then Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, bro. I get it. But the first player you're taking that's not a quarterback is going to be Saquon Barkley. And dude is having an unbelievable year. He's literally leading the Eagles through these playoffs, and he's led them to the NFC Championship game. I mean, he is just an absolute stud. He's been a stud since he stepped on the field in 2017 with the New York Giants when he had Eli Manning, Odell Beckham Jr. Freaking Giants. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard not to think of the Giants now. Every time you see Saquon Barkley do what he does, this dude was absolutely on a mission this year because of how everything ended in New York. Felt like he was disrespected a little bit. And he wanted to unleash hell on whoever. It seems like whoever it is that was lining up in front of him, and it just happened to be the Rams today. But like I said, 9th player in NFL history to have 2,000 yards. He has 200 yards in the playoffs. In this game alone in the divisional round. 2 touchdowns, and he's carrying them all the way to the next game against the Washington Commanders. So, with that being said, now that we talked a little bit about both games, Kansas City, Buffalo Bills, going to be absolute cinema. I'm so excited to see that. Will we get 13-second game again? Will we get what we got in 2020? Will we get last year where the Kansas City Chiefs, all of a sudden, kind of like I said, Travis Kelce coming back to life after a disappointing season and come back to his old self? We don't know, but we do know that these games between Buffalo and Kansas City are always, for the most part, sometimes going down to the wire, but they're always great games, regular season or postseason. And I imagine that this is going to lead in both championship games and viewership. Everybody's going to want to see who's going to knock off Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody's praying on their downfall. Everybody's praying on their that they lose and lose in big fashion. It's just what happens. You start going on top of the world, everybody's gonna hate you. So that game I'm excited about. But this game too, Washington versus Philadelphia. Nobody had the Washington on their bingo card. I certainly didn't. And we're gonna get the Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Now I will say, This is a rivalry game, like an in-division rivalry game, which means it can go either way. And the fact that the Washington Commanders, led by Jaden Daniels, are even here is absolutely just bonkers to me. We literally got Jaden Daniels leading the Commanders to the NFC Championship game before GTA 6. I mean, come on. Come on now. It's just that you can't write it any better than this. You can't write the script any better than this. So shout out to the script writers for the NFL. This is great. This is going to be a great game right here. Jaden Daniels is already the greatest rookie quarterback of all time, greatest rookie quarterback season of all time. And if he wins this game against Philly, and there's a possibility he could, he'll be the first ever not only to take his first ever rookie to get to the Super Bowl, and he also puts himself in prime position to be the first rookie quarterback in NFL history to win the Super Bowl. You can't say enough about this guy. You got to feel like, if I'm the owner of the Commanders, if I'm Magic Johnson, I feel like and there's other owners too, by the way. I just name Magic because it's Magic. and he recently bought quite a bit of the team. But everybody who owns pieces of the Commanders right now, you got to feel like you hit the lottery times 10, 20, 30. This is the type of stuff you dream about as an owner, as a franchise, as a GM, as fans. Hell, even the fans as well. Having a rookie quarterback, and you get in his first year ever as a rookie, you get taken to the championship game. I mean, it doesn't get anything better than that. It doesn't. Again, like I said, the script can't be written any better than that. This is just absolutely unbelievable. And if I'm Washington, I'm so happy for all the fans. I'm so happy for the organization. This is a great thing to see. Jaden Daniels, shout out to the IE. Shout out to Southern California. Southern California kid, you already know. You already know my opinion as far as best high school players in the country. I think they're in Southern California. But no, this is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a game that's going to come down to scoring. I see something like 28-31, 31-34, somewhere around that range. It's going to be back and forth, back and forth. The Commanders have a really good defense, but then again, so do the Eagles, and the Eagles got a really good offense as well. So we'll see. I think Jaden Daniels, in order to compete, is going to have to go back and forth with Jalen Hurts all game long. And if I'm the Commanders, I am doing my best. I know it's hard because he literally just had 205 yards, and he's probably not going to be stopped. But damn it, if you could stop Saquon Barkley and hold him to a minimum of at least 100 yards or less than that, I think Commanders win this game. I really do. And that's kind of a big thing to say because they still have, like I said, Devontae Smith, they have A.J. Brown, they have Goddard, they have other weapons on offense, but I really think they're so heavily dependent on Saquon Barkley this year. If they can find a way to stop him, the Commanders are going to be in great shape to really go out and win this game and shock the entire world. If they were to go to the Super Bowl, whether they win or lose, they have shocked the entire world. Nobody would have thought in a billion years that the Commanders would be going to the Super Bowl. So, we'll see. So I'm excited for this one. Almost more than the Baltimore. So I'm almost as excited for this Commanders versus Eagles game than the Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs game, just because we've seen that game plenty of times. One of those guys is going to go to the Super Bowl, but to see Jaden Daniels possibly get to the Super Bowl, this is going to be a great game. Great game. So, but anyways, that's my little bit of my spiel for today on this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. For those of you who do, I see that the viewership is starting to come up. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. It'll really help out the channel a lot. And I will see you guys next week. I'm probably going to go live on YouTube for that. I want to see if I can at least do it on that, see what that's like a little bit. But I will be giving my reactions to championship weekend as well, heading into the Super Bowl and talking about the Super Bowl leading up to that for the next couple of weeks. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Isaiah Ruiz. I am your host of The Read Step. See you guys later. Peace out.